Welcome to the People's Podcast. It's your boy, Young Meech, aka Scooney Mac, aka the Bay Area YouTuber, aka the Bay Area wrestler now that I'm in the wrestling world. But this is the People's the People's Podcast presented by the Wrestling Republic. We got the co-host. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Man, John the Beast sleeping in the East with some new equipment finally. Y'all ready for this podcast?
Yes, sir. We back again, man. We back again. It's been a while. It's the People's Podcast. We're going to give the people what they want. We're going to give y'all the real about the wrestling world. And, of course, we got to just dive straight into it. Like, I can give you an overlay of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the wrestling world has changed in the WWE. We got Vince McMahon retired, Triple H taking over. We got even AEW. Is it the fallout of AEW with CM Punk already? Is it already like this?
Trouble in paradise, man.
Trouble in paradise. So let us start off with the most famous segment of the People's Podcast so far. Let's just dive straight into it. Let us talk about Defend This Wrestler with CM Punk. Go ahead and let people know how you feel about CM Punk.
All right, man. All right, Mitch. You know I got to ask you, man, to defend CM Punk because I don't keep the buck. I'm not a fan. Haven't been a fan since he was in the WWE and in TNA. And I'm out to ask you, man, defend this man for his actions of this week and past yonder. Because I'm going to keep it real with you, man. Seems like CM Punk is the biggest whiner in all of sports entertainment. Things don't go his way. All of a sudden, it's the world against Punk. All of a sudden, it's the land of the giants. I can't get ahead. It's crazy, man, how well this man could talk himself into a bad situation. Jesus Christ. Man, I need you to defend this man because I'm about to ask you, about when was the last time you seen a good CM Punk match?
Ooh, okay. Last time I seen a good CM Punk match. See, here's my problem. I don't fully watch the AEW like I should, but I'm going to because this is the People's Podcast. We got to give the people the real. But CM Punk, I mean, would some people say his match with Jon Moxley that he just had at the previous pay-per-view, was that a good match? I mean, I don't know if CM Punk really has bad matches. That's the thing. Does CM Punk have bad matches? I think CM Punk actually, I never heard people say CM Punk have a bad match. So that's my thing. Now, personally, have I seen a great match of CM Punk? Have I watched even a match from CM Punk lately? I haven't. I can't even defend that part, but go ahead.
Tragic. Because the way I like to feel about CM Punk is this, man. He got y'all all confused. He got y'all under a spell. Release yourself from the genjutsu. Because obviously this man will talk y'all up into a good game just to let y'all know you're going to get a subpar, mediocre, trash-ass match for good 25 to 26 minutes. And then we're just going to sit up here and be like, that was Shakespeare. My God, that's a 5-star match. Dave Meltzer said it all. Like, come on, dog. Let's just keep it a buck. Even CM Punk on his best night, he's an above-average wrestler. He just does very well at not getting people hurt. He does very well at making sure that the fans can absorb what you're watching. I'm going to keep it a buck. This man ain't got a special move that I was entertained by, and this man ain't got a match that I want to rewind. It's a damn shame, ain't it? And then I'll keep it a buck. I'll keep one great thing about CM Punk. He will sure as hell talk you into a good situation to make you want to watch a match. Because god dang, I be going back all the time watching CM Punk talk that mess on SmackDown, Raw, and then on AEW. Because I watched MJF versus CM Punk. Did I watch the match though? Hell no. It didn't happen. It won't happen. I guarantee on that. But I will watch Hangman Page versus CM Punk because, you know, that seems like he got some fire, some venom. But you need to tell me, man, what is the positives to CM Punk other than him talking himself into a good game, man? Defend this man real quick, please.
Now, I have to say this. At one point in time when CM Punk became, you know, quote unquote, the best in the world during his time in the WWE, I wasn't really a fan of the work in WWE at that time. So I had to, you know, kind of do my history and watch CM Punk. So I started to watch the documentary that the WWE put out, I believe in 2012, called The Best in the World. So even wrestlers like CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, I didn't grow up watching them, and especially during their time when they became the top stars, I wasn't really watching the WWE at that time. So I had to kind of watch some highlights and then kind of catch up. So one of my things when I watched that documentary, The Best in the World, about CM Punk, it showed me that CM Punk, to me, even though I wasn't a fan at the time, I can't lie, I did eventually become a fan, because one thing about CM Punk is he can cut amazing promos. And you already said, you already acknowledged that.
Man, he got you in the Genjutsu. You got to read it yourself.
You already acknowledged that too, is that he can talk up a good game. And that's the thing, though. That is a huge part of wrestling. That's a huge part of sports entertainment. CM Punk can talk up any match. He can cut any promo. He can sell tickets. And that's a huge thing about CM Punk. Now, as far as his matches goes, I never looked at CM Punk as being like the best in the world in ring, even though that's his moniker. That's what people call him. That's what he calls himself. I never looked at CM Punk and been like, that's the guy I'm going to study to become the best wrestler in ring for myself, or I'm going to take these moves from him. I don't look at CM Punk like that. I don't think he's a bad wrestler. I think he's a good, solid wrestler. I think the main thing about CM Punk is his storytelling. He's able to tell a story on that mic that makes you want to watch that match even more. And then he can cut a promo against absolutely anybody. So my thing when it comes to CM Punk is always going to be around how great he is on the mic. Now, as far as in ring, I probably, you know what? This is a people's podcast. Let me know in the comment section what matches that I should watch, or what we should watch, that prove CM Punk is the best in the world in professional wrestling. Now, because for me personally, I don't really look at CM Punk from the standpoint of in ring. I think about all the promos. I think about those stories that he's told. And that's how I look at CM Punk. And that's a huge part of pro wrestling. So he can't be a trash wrestler if he's one of the best wrestlers that able to give promos throughout all time. What do you got to say about that?
Shit, I'll give you that. But like I said, man, he got y'all confused. Because to me, he's like the layaway Bret Hart. I mean, god dang, man. It ain't the same. And to keep it a buck with you, man, like I said, I don't be remembering this man's matches like that. They just are non-existent. Looking like John Cena back in 2014. You can't see this man because he ain't there. Tragic. And I'll keep it a buck. Like you said, I think one thing that does add to the character and to the match is having a great build-up. It's one thing to have a great match happen out of the blue and it's regularly on the card, but if somebody can talk it up and get you to want to watch it, that's what makes it beautiful. Because let's look at Floyd Mayweather. People do not like his matches because they often say it's boring, but he will talk you into wanting to see this match. He'll get real disrespectful, or if not, extra cocky, and then people are going to want to say to see him get beat up, and it don't happen.
Exactly.
So like what Punk, that's exactly what Punk has. Exactly what it has.
The thing about CM Punk, though, it's not even just his in-ring promo skills or his promo skills in AEW or when he was in WWE. I feel like this dude could just talk in general. Like when he just recently dished out all, cutting down the EVPs in AEW, talking about Adam Hangman Page. Like when he talked about all of them, I watched that video several times and I was just like, this dude, obviously it was real, but I was like, even if it wasn't real, this dude is just entertaining to listen to and entertaining to watch. Like, I just look at CM Punk as that he's one of the best in the world on the mic, and not just in the world, like of all time. So he's one of those that just, no matter what, he can pick up a mic and he can make you entertain from whatever he's going to say. And And I think that's the biggest thing about CM Punk for me. And that's one of the things, like, obviously from watching his documentary, The Best in the World, like, and seeing his come up to making it into the WWE, to making it on top, it showed me like just his grind overall and how he is a good wrestler. Now they're not lying though. I don't really, when I think of CM Punk though, I don't think about, man, what about that match he had? I really don't think like that. And I wonder if people think like that.
Hey man, I'm gonna ask you this: did you know Punk was in TNA?
Oh, I had no idea. No idea.
Yeah, that's just to let you know. Hey man, there's a lot of gray areas in Punk's career that get overshadowed. I heard it back in what's it called? Back in Ring of Honor though, he was throwing on some bangers. So I guess we can look some of those up and hope for the best.
And do some reactions to those, because I already know anytime we're talking about CM Punk, he has such a cult following that y'all gonna say something, but guess what? This is absolute truth. I mean, how many of y'all really look at CM Punk just from the standpoint of his in-ring ability? Like, I look at CM Punk from, I guess, as an overall talent in a sense, but I don't look at CM Punk as best technical wrestler or anything like that at all.
The real total package, CM Punk. He'll give you an all right wrestling match and a great what's it called, promo. He will do it.
Yeah. How do you feel about the CM Punk fallout with AEW right now?
Oh yeah, I love it. I am one of those people that like to thrive off the negativity. Ooh boy, man, just to hear Punk just let it go, start shooting shots at everybody. You know my favorite part about that, Dito? You know my favorite part was watching Tony Khan sit right there as he's just going off. And I was just thinking to myself, either A, Tony Khan might be the biggest yes man in wrestling, or he agrees with Punk. He's tired of this clown show wrestling. Because I heard listening to a couple sources that were telling me about the ratings about AEW and how much of a clown show it has become. CM Punk versus John Moxley on TV, that was the mid card, I believe. And people were ecstatic, stoked to see that match. The ratings went up. And then we had Kenny Omega and his friends have a little match at the main event for the tag titles. And the ratings went down by $200,000. And I'm just like, man, this ain't it, Chief. So yeah. And then on top of that, just finding out or learning about AEW and how figuring out that we got the inmates running the asylum with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, it's kind of alarming and detrimental, because it screams nepotism when you put you and your friends on the main event and you're collecting titles when your friend comes back from wrestling. What? It don't work like that, bro. That is not cool. Not one bit. So then we're gonna fast forward a bit and we have claims that the Bucks broke down the door because they got their feelings hurt. Homeboy, this is wrestling. We back in the day, we used to have people talking about people's addictions, family members passing away, and all types of crazy mess. And you worried about some backstage politicking that could have been avoided? Man, that's crazy, dog. And for Hangman Page, I'm gonna keep it a buck. This man sounding sorry as hell, man. Sound like he get his feelings hurt if they put the wrong kind of condiments on his burger. They missed the pickles. He's gonna probably go off on the register lady, because you know what? He cut a whole promo that I'm pretty sure Punk wasn't aware of, and then act like I did nothing wrong. What you mean? You over there in your feelings on TV. What are you doing? And I think the worst thing about that, worst thing to go down with that promo, not that promo, excuse me, but that interview with having with Punk, is that he was exposing people. Ended up saying Colt Cabana's real name, his government, and exposing the fact he was sharing a bank account with his mom too. I was like, man, he don't mess with cuz. He don't like him. And then on top of that, he was just going around just letting you know, like, hey, man, these EVPs, bro, they don't know what they're doing. This is a clown show. I'm working with children. It makes sense. Yeah.
You know what's surprising about that to me is how you started this off when you talked about Tony Khan. the owner of AEW, and he's just like,
Yes, he ended up.
it's like I can't imagine Vince McMahon sitting across from any WWE talent, whether it's Roman Reigns, and they're just going off like that, and Vince is looking like just looking crazy. I just don't see how Tony Khan allowed that to happen. Like I get it, CM Punk is your top guy, he's the champion at the time, and at the end of the day, you can't really control him. But it was just weird to me because you have to manage all the talent, and you have one of the talents exposing everything and talking bad about another wrestler, and you're the one that's supposed to be in control of that. And
Oh, yeah.
obviously you have certain people that exactly is in control of that, but if you're the guy, the owner, and you're just making facial expressions, I'm like, how can we really take you serious?
I feel you, but then it's like I kind of looking at it like this because I look at Dana White and how he handles certain interviews. It's similar manner, similar fashion, because they know this kind of thing gets you attention, and it gives you that right kind of attention because people are wondering what is going to happen next. And then on top of that, I'm not blaming Tony Khan too much. I'm not too mad at him because he's like us, man. He really is a fan of wrestling. He really wants this. But you got to understand, you can't let the inmates run the asylum, and you also can't let your executive vice presidents go in, start kicking down doors and starting fights. Because hey, man, if this got any worse, Punk can be like, hey, man, unsafe work environment. I'm gonna sue all y'all. And there you go. The end of what's it called? All Elite Wrestling. It was nice while we had it.
It's just, I mean, it's not to really get on Tony Khan. It's just it doesn't seem like, obviously he's still learning. Obviously that company is still growing. It's all a learning process. But at the same time, it's this could be a major fallout for them. Like in terms of, obviously they're competing against WWE, which is the top dog in wrestling. Like you're competing against the best, and it's tough because when I think about how this can literally lead to other upcoming wrestlers wanting to instantly just go to the WWE, and then where's that competition? It's already not really that much competition when you look at Raw and SmackDown's ratings and viewership to AEW. Like AEW may beat NXT, but they're not even coming close to Raw and SmackDown. It's night and day. But I'm like, I don't know. It just doesn't, it's not good. It's not good. Like, I don't want to get on Tony Khan so much, but it's just, and I get CM Punk's point of view. Like this is what he does. And then he just, he happened to get asked about it and it got brought up. And not only that, he just was kind of going off about it. And he was going off about it for about 30 minutes throughout the entire interview. But I don't know. It's definitely a bad look. It's definitely a bad look. And then now he's not even the champion no more. So it's like now they're doing this tournament to see who's going to become AEW World Champion. But it's like, once again, we just went through this process. We had the interim champions. CM Punk finally became the champ again, and then now it's vacated again. This is not, it's a pretty bad look. And you got MJF mentioning Triple H, mentioning WWE dang near in his promos. And I don't even understand the full point of that. I'm like, are they doing this creatively and showing like he's the best heel, that he doesn't mind talking about anything? But I'm like, the WWE is not even mentioning AEW, and y'all mentioning WWE. That's not really,
Not even getting acknowledged.
y'all not getting acknowledged at all. So I'm like, this is the weirdest thing. And I'm like, he's really making it seem like he's going to leave 2024. He mentioned that in his recent promo, 2024, like he's almost going to be out of his contract and he's just going to be out. Like, and they're just allowing him to say that on AEW programming. I'm like,
Well, to be fair, it's supposed to be heel work, but it's like you hit the low hanging fruit. And then on top of that, what makes me kind of like angry at that promo was just that he did the play by play, step by step to make the crowd angry at me. Let me insult their sports team. Let me go insult the city. Let me go talk about how I want to go to the WWE. I'm like, bro, I know you can do way better than that. I know you can.
Wait. Before we continue on, let us take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll dish more on that MJF promo and get more into the show. But let's take a quick break.
So hey you, the wrestling fans I'm talking to, yeah, you. Hey, I'm curious, what are y'all into, man? Do y'all like sports? Do you like I don't know. Do you like video games? Tell me. Are you guys interested in what's coming for the future? And I mean the future of sports video games. Because I feel at the bottom line is that we're coming to a new age of good games. Because that 2K23 NBA, ooh, it's looking good. Real good. We finally hit that fine realm of clunky and realistic gameplay. And I can't wait to see what might happen. Let me know, what's your favorite sports games? Hey, it can be WWE. It might be that trash AEW game coming soon. Let me know how you feel about it. And hey, man, if you see me online, Roman playing 2K22 online, you know, hit me up. Try to challenge me. I know y'all ain't gonna win. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, drop your favorite games and comments and down below. Let me know.
So we're back from the break. And before we left off, we were talking about AEW, CM Punk. We were talking about MJF promo that he recently cut. And just the landscape of AEW right now. And one of the things that, I wanted to go more in depth with about the MJF promo. First off, I got to say this. MJF, if AEW lets MJF go to the WWE, man, you don't understand. You're giving Triple H a great heel. Like, you're giving him more talent for one, but you're giving him somebody that basically is homegrown in AEW, AEW's own homegrown star, and that's red hot right now. And you allow him to go to the WWE where they're actually looking for great heels. That competition margin is just going to keep getting smaller and smaller. If they allow MJF to go, it's over. It's over. It's not even no chance. And this man is mentioning Cody Rhodes in this promo. He's mentioning Cody Rhodes going basically to the WWE. Like, tell me your full thoughts on all of that.
Hey man, I think MJF gotta stop wearing, such tight shirts, because that man was locked in, stuck. I'm surprised John Moxley wasn't laughing at him, like, Jesus Christ. But the way I feel about it, yeah, I totally agree, man. You give Triple H a weapon like somebody who can talk. Oh yeah, he knows exactly where to put him, exactly where to place him. Because I seen this in NXT, and I seen this when he was the vice president. He was acting as vice president when he as a heel character for the 2010s. Yeah, that's just giving him too much ammo. That's not a good look, man. That is not a good look. But that just tells me what the situation might be behind the scenes of AEW, man. They got to get it together. Because I think what it really is with the fans, we're now at the honeymoon phase, and we're starting to realize we're looking at what the real product is and what the real situation's going. Because have you heard about the backstage nonsense between Sammy Guevara and Eddie Kingston?
No, actually, I haven't even heard of that one. Let me know. Let me know a little something about that.
So Sammy Guevara cuts a promo, right? Sammy, he's a bit of a hothead, and, but he got the wave going behind him, man. He moving. So what he does in a promo, because he's beefing with Eddie Kingston in this match, is that he pretty much says is that, hey, Eddie, you're fat. You know what I'm saying? He's making fat jokes. All right, low-hanging fruit, whatever, right? Eddie Kingston takes offense to this, and he's like, your body shape. What? This is wrestling, dog. What is you doing? I remember when Eddie Guerrero died, and one of the first promos Randy Orton cut was that one about where Eddie ended up. Man, I'm just like, come on, man. It's cold as ice, but if you getting mad at fat jokes, come on, bro. That's what you mad about? It got to be something deeper than that, man. And then, from what I understand, he put hands on and Sammy too backstage, and Champion's like, what did I even do? Because this is exactly the same thing a lot of heels would do. This is heel 101. Let's start attacking this guy from every angle. Because I'm pretty sure if he got into a brief rivalry with Scott Steiner, he'd tear his ass up. Scott Steiner, oh man, I saw the way he cut up Samoa Joe, hailing from Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like, God dang, man, please stop. But like I said, to me, that's pretty weak. And then Eddie Kingston, from what I understand, got suspended as well. And I'm just like, come on, bro.
Didn't CM Punk say Eddie Kingston is he's like the second best Kingston in the world of wrestling or something like that? He said in a promo.
The second best Kingston that he's met.
Yeah, the second best Kingston. Like this, it's it's funny with AEW. It's starting to seem like a lot of their promos be like real. Like they really shooting on the other pro wrestler in a sense. Like to me, obviously to me, I wouldn't take offense to that, but I don't know what the backstage politics is. And we're starting to get to know the backstage politics a lot more. But I'm saying like, it's just, it's just bad. It's bad for business. It's just bad business when I think about it. Like to me, and it's funny, I just recently watched a Seth Rollins interview and he basically was saying that, and it was with BTS Sports. And he is basically saying that nothing's off limits for him. Maybe the only thing that's off limits is if someone mentions his like daughter in a promo. But he was like, for the most part, he's like, nothing's off limits. Like when it comes to WWE and cutting promos and being able to help drive that story, that storyline ultimately. So I don't know. It's weird for me. I know I wouldn't mind nothing like that. And especially when it comes to just like, talking about, calling me fat or something like that. But I don't know. It's just it's rough right now. A lot of those wrestlers don't like each other, which could be good, but also it seems like it's not turning as good as it can be because it's a lot of it is actually coming out, and it's looking like bad business ultimately.
It looks like the land of the snakes. My issue is like, I wish that Tony Khan didn't just want to jump and go hire every single WWE guy that's been released, because now you got a bunch of guys that be like, look, the grass is greener on the other side, guys. And really, it ain't like that. And then on top of that, you got all these great wrestling minds and bookers there, because JR could book some matches, man. He was doing his job back then. And then you also got Mark Henry, who's a great mind for wrestling. And I'm just like, think you got all these guys back there, and you telling me you got a locker room that's somewhat in turmoil and divided. Because the way I'm hearing it from sources, I'm going to say right now, is that it seems like it's just what's it called? It seems like it's really just Kenny Omega and his friends trying to run a wrestling business, and it's not looking good. Truly an inmates running the asylum situation.
I got another question. I guess the last question in terms of this AEW turmoil, but where do you see CM Punk landing? As of like, obviously we know that he got into that backstage fight. They're saying that he could have like a torn pec or something like that, like a real big injury. And, but there's a lot of rumors that he's not going to be a part of AEW, that this could be the end of his time in AEW. Where do you see CM Punk? Do you think he's going to return back to AEW? He may go into another promotion. Let's say about 6 months from now, where do you see CM Punk landing? Or is he done with wrestling?
I think he'll be done with wrestling. I think he'll be sitting at home watching the Bears get beat every week. But on a real note, I honestly see him still with AEW. I feel like what needs to happen though is a shakeup in the AEW staffing. Because I'm not okay with the Young Bucks having a say in anything in someone else's business. I understand they were there to help you start the business, but obviously you've seen these guys are somewhat crippling to your progression. And I feel like they can't be executive vice presidents. That can't run. Because now this guy is no longer your friend, they're your boss. And it's the bad look all around. And on top of that, let me bring it up. If the details about that fight happen to be true backstage, then hey man, they lucky to have a job, because I would have got him out of there real quick.
Here's my thing. if I had to try to predict where CM Punk would be, it's a little rough because obviously we know how his time ended with the WWE, and it's and then it doesn't seem like he really cares to kind of mend that relationship. But here's my thing. If there was any time to try to mend that relationship, it would be with the new head of creative, Triple H. Now, I don't know his relationship with Triple H, but it just seems like Triple H has a different relationship with talent because he was in their shoes. So, and he just has a different way he looks at the business overall. And it just seems like since Triple H taken over, that he just has like it has a different feel in the WWE amongst the talent. Like they're all just more excited, more happy, and I feel like if there was a time for CM Punk to be able to mend that relationship, that would be, once if he is really injured, then after he heals up. I don't know. It just seems like CM Punk doesn't really care though about the WWE, or like even if like he seems like he still has like, kind of like bad feelings towards it in a sense. So if I had to predict it, I would say somehow, some way, I do believe he'll end up back in the WWE, even if it was like just a short term contract, even if it was just one event. But I feel like I don't feel like his time at the WWE is over, especially seeing like obviously Cody Rhodes being that first crossover. But I think it's gonna be more. I think there's gonna be more AEW superstars going to the WWE. So CM Punk might as well be one of the first few after Cody Rhodes to just come back home.
I mean, hey man, Bobby Fish, and Malachi Black are two wrestlers that are being rumored to return to WWE programming. So we're going to see about that as well. And then on top of that, we also got the return of Braun Strowman. So it's a very good chance. Because it seems like a lot of people don't have issues with Triple, even when when Punk was very upset and very angry, he didn't really bury Triple like he did Vince.
Mm-hmm.
So I really do believe that it might be a good chance he might come back, but I really do believe, hey man, if he's done with wrestling, he's done. He's gonna probably do something else, because CM Punk to me is still money. Because like I said, he can talk a good game. I don't know why he doesn't just do commentary for, I don't know, hockey, or host his own live streams or something. Because people will pay just to listen to hear him talk. Because he has a very Chicago style about how he wants to do things, and I think that's money still.
Before we fully move on to the WWE creative, Vince McMahon retiring, one last question I have for AEW, or regarding AEW: who should be the new AEW World Champion?
That's a hard one, man, because there's a lot of guys that could be the champion. Mm-hmm. I think Daniel Bryan is the easiest pick due to the fact, well, hey, another big WWE star, but at the same time, though, he's very good in the ring. He's all right on the mic. And then on top of that, from what I understand, Moxley is there for the meantime. He's not going to be there the entire time. So yeah, I don't want to see the belt put it back on Jericho. I believe Jericho, every time he's champion, you're going to get some lackluster results. And then if it's for like an AEW homegrown talent, I think MJF is very deserving of it because he's good in the ring and he's also good on the mic, very good on the mic. So I think that's like, hey man, the upgrade. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, this might be a good time to start pushing Wardlow to the top and make him AEW champion. But we'll have to see, because I haven't seen Wardlow talk a lot. So if your champion can't talk a lot, man, you're gonna be in a bad position.
If I had to predict, I'm gonna say Daniel Bryan's gonna win the tournament. Daniel Bryan will be the new AEW World Champion. If it was me booking it, I would say I will either go Daniel Bryan or I'll go MJF. So if I had to make one decision, I will go MJF, just for the sole purpose is that Daniel Bryan, even though he's wrestled around the world, people look at him like he's a WWE superstar that went to AEW. So you make him champion is just like, I don't know, it's just another WWE superstar that was just the top dog in the WWE who just moved to AEW. You made him a champion again. John Moxley was just a champion. So like, I say give it to MJF. He's super hot right now, red hot heel. Give him the title. Give him the title. But let us move on. Let us talk a little bit about the WWE creative. We got a little bit into it. Braun Strowman being brought back. What is your full thoughts on Vince McMahon retiring and Triple H taking creative control?
Well, I don't want to get too deep into the allegations, but I will say Vince no longer being in control. I think it's probably the blessing in disguise, because we've said it time and time again. There's a lot of things that happen in wrestling that are very Vince McMahon. You can tell he was the one who said you should go do this, and that's the way this is booked, because he's very deliberate about what he wants to do, and oftentimes it feels very out of date, out of touch, and just out of mind. And I get Vince's mindset of it has to be visceral and it has to catch your attention, but he don't get it no more, and it's time for at least somebody with a fresher mind to understand and do things, because we as a wrestling podcast and as wrestling fans, we know the Vince McMahon saga, man. We know this all too well. We know what it looks like, and we know how terrible it can really get. So I think this was a very big blessing in disguise, and letting Triple come in charge, because since Triple has been in charge, it's been pretty good, because wrestling has been quite unpredictable, and I've been very, very anxious to show my friends what wrestlers can do, because I'm pretty sure not a lot of people watched the triple threat match between Mustafa Ali, AJ Styles, and the Money in the Bank winner. Like, come on now, these matches in the way some of these promos have been very entertaining, and this wouldn't have happened under Vince. So I'm thinking this is a very good thing, man, very good thing, and I hope with Vince is that he can go find his peace and just surf out the rest of his retirement. How do you feel about it, Meech?
Can we get a documentary on Vince McMahon? Because like, this man has seen it all. Like, one thing I just got to give Vince McMahon his props. Like, I know as wrestling fans and as doing this podcast, we can be very critical, especially of the WWE, but we got to give Vince his props though too. Like, this dude, like, the world of wrestling wouldn't be what it is to this day, or the heights that it reached at its highest, without Vince McMahon. I know that we talk a lot about like his creative, and we talk about from the standpoint of nowadays or over the last maybe few years, but like, Vince McMahon took wrestling and made it into sports entertainment. I was recently watching this documentary, literally on A&E, about WrestleMania 1, and how he bet all his cards on WrestleMania 1 to make it, wrestling what it is today, to become that global iconic, company that basically, that took over the world of wrestling. So, I got to give Vince his props. That being said, I think it was time. Even though like we know, how it kind of all played out, but I think it's time though. I feel like Triple H, it's funny, I've been having people, friends that been stopped watching wrestling, or even my oldest brother was talking to me and messaging me and letting me know, like, ever since Triple H taken over, he's been watching wrestling more. Like, it's just an excitement, because what Triple H did with NXT recently, and how NXT, to me, before, NXT 2.0, when Triple H was fully in control, NXT was the best wrestling brand in the entire world to me. Like, forget Raw, forget SmackDown, forget AEW, and we can go down the line, TNA, all those. NXT was the show, and NXT is what made me start watching wrestling again. So seeing what Triple H did with NXT and now having full creative control, I like the direction that the WWE is in. And then not only that, I feel like Triple H just has a different ultimate, like, he has a different level of respect, but a different level of like communication with the talent too. Because most of these young wrestlers, they look at Triple H and it's like, I watched Triple H and I thought he was one of the best. Like, I admired him. Like, you hear MJF talking about Triple H in his promos and saying Triple H was the best or his hero. Like, so it's a different level of admiration, and then you get a chance to talk to one of the best wrestling minds and someone that was one of the best wrestlers during his time. So it's just like, I think it's just right. And I look forward to seeing everything Triple H is going to be able to do from here on. Like, I can't wait till they announce, or not announce, I can't wait till Sasha Banks eventually comes back, because I know that's going to happen. Seeing Braun Strowman make his return, that's good. I never thought he should have been released. And I feel like it's just, the sky's the limit with the WWE, that Triple H is in control. Not that Vince did anything terrible. It's just, obviously it's Vince. It's some big shoes to fill, and Vince took the world of wrestling to a whole nother level. And now I feel like Triple H is just, he's a part of this time period that he's going to be able to cultivate the fans a lot more. So, and give us something different. And that's what we mostly complain about. It's like, we just need something different. So I think it's going to be amazing. I look forward to seeing what Triple H do.
I agree on that. I agree with you on that one, man. So sky's the limit, and hopefully they don't blow it.
But let's talk about the first event that Triple H had full creative control over. Clash at the Castle that just happened this past Sunday, or last Sunday, that took place. What was your favorite match from that card?
To be honest, my favorite match was Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. I think that match was very good. There was very little I could complain about. The only thing I wished was Matt didn't get that huge knot on his face. I was very concerned about that. But I also wish that even as the match was over, Matt still wanted that smoke and chased Seth down that ramp just for them to have a little bit of a backstage brawl. I would have loved for that to happen, but it is what it is. That's my favorite match. And then on top of that, the other match that had my attention a lot was the what's it called? The 6-man tag match with Damage Control and what's it called? In Bianca Belair's group. I really liked that match. I thought putting them on first was a great idea, and they all did a good job, and they worked very well with each other. Those are the two matches that stood out to me and I liked the most. What about you?
I gotta be honest, man. And this is gonna be a first. This may be a first, maybe a last. I don't know. But I gotta give this man some props. I don't really hear, this is surprising for me, because I don't usually ever get his due props. I gotta give Sheamus and Gunther their props to me. Like, and specifically, I'm bringing up Sheamus because over the years, I haven't been the biggest Sheamus fan. Sheamus is just, I don't know. I don't really even know how I look at Sheamus. But this seemed like one of his best matches that he's been in. And one thing about this match was hard hitting from the beginning to end. It seemed like it really puts the Intercontinental title like back to where it should be. Like, it actually means something. Now, that's a credit to Sheamus. That's a credit to Gunther. One thing about Gunther, though, I got to mention about him is that me trying to, break through in the world of wrestling, me training as well, this guy is able to make his matches is so physical, but I know as I'm training myself, I know that obviously you're supposed to make it look as physical as possible without hurting the other wrestler. So this guy's good. I just got to let people know this dude is good. Like, he seems like he's legit. Like, I want to see him because I want to see him wrestle even more. Like I want to see him eventually face like a Seth Rollins or something like that. I just feel like he's going to bring more credit to that Intercontinental title that it used to have back in the day. Back in the day when the Bret Harts was the champions, all those type of things. Like that match to me was the best match on the card. Like I gotta give them their props, and it was for the Intercontinental title. It was hard hitting from beginning to end. Sheamus got a well-deserved standing ovation at the end of the match as well. I gotta give it to them. That match was the best match to me.
I agree with you on that one, man. I think they did a very good job. But then again, they were in home territory, man. This is what the UK people wanted. So I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it, and I can't wait to see what else they do with him. Because I'm calling it now because I know this is in the future for him and his cards, but he's gonna be WWE champion. That's a fact. Put on a Snapple cap if you got to.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah. So it's only a matter of time. Cause here's the thing. I'm one of the 5 people that actually watched a little bit of NXT UK, and I thought it was truly he was one of the best things about it. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he's gonna make waves because I know what a lot of wrestling fans wanted was Walter and his group to take on Roman and take that belt. I'm just like, shoot, it's not a bad idea. I'm not against that.
Ooh,
do I want to see the Mania this year? In the future, maybe.
Ooh.
Since we're talking about Clash at the Castle, how did you feel about the main event?
I mean, I thought one thing I got to give Roman his props. Like, I feel like Roman over this, this championship run, of which I believe has been 2 years now, over this championship reign, he's had some great matches. Like all his matches are good to me. Like he don't have bad matches anymore. So the match itself I thought it was great. The ending, I seen some people complaining about the ending. The ending to me, it wasn't horrible. I mean, it's just like, do you really want Drew McIntyre to become champion right now? Obviously for me, that's a no. Just be straight honest with you. I don't want to see Drew McIntyre as the undisputed champion. I don't think anybody should beat Roman Reigns right now until maybe around Royal Rumble or WrestleMania season, which we're going to end off the show talking about in a much sooner time. But like, I just, Drew McIntyre, obviously them being in the UK, the fans would have loved to see Drew McIntyre win in his home, his home area, his home country. But but the long haul, I think Roman needs to stay champion. And if he's going to lose it, he's lose it at, WrestleMania or lose it at, around WrestleMania season. And then obviously like now getting another cousin involved, man, the bloodline is strong. Like of course the bloodline that we hear and talk about, the stable itself, but I'm talking about, forget all of that. Just think about the family itself. These are some incredible legends, all a part of this family. So like, and then now him getting involved, and I forgot his name, but him getting involved, and then helping Roman win while the Usos couldn't be in the UK and while Paul was out. Like, come on. Like, Sami Zayn wasn't involved. Like, I didn't see no problem with it. What was your thoughts on it?
I only got a couple issues with the match itself because I understand that none of the members of the bloodline were there. I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. I ain't got an issue with that. But my problem is that we had Tyson Fury having an involvement in this match, where Tyson Fury seemed to be very determined to make sure nothing was going to stop that match, because he, as you can saw, he got involved with what's it called, the Money in the Bank winner coming down the stage, Austin Theory, and him getting them knocked out. I'm like, that's good. And then seeing how many times the Claymore kick got baited, I'm like, yeah, this is good. And then only for Solo Siaki to come out and stop the match like that. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, hey man, if we're gonna have this man come out and do that, why not just have him hop the barricade and throw one more good punch. Shoot, why not?
Mm.
And that be the catalyst for why that match went that way. Because to me, I thought the match was pretty good because Roman played to the crowd and was trying to piss everybody off, and then on top of that, they were really building up to make him the big hero. But to me, this is like a rerun. Do you know what this exact match happened? Like this exact build up.
Where?
So there was a pay per view that WWE ran back in the 1990s called Excursion. Excursion happened in the UK, and it was supposed to be putting up British Bulldog going up against DX Shawn Michaels. Now that's super heel Shawn Michaels at this point, and it was built up a similar way. A special pay per view in the UK, and on top of that, it's gonna be Shawn Michaels going up against Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog.
Hmm.
And guess what? They built them up. You think it's going to happen? Guess what happened? Shawn Michaels beats British Bulldog with the help of DX, and the DX starts beating the brakes off of him to the point to where it looked bad. Man, people were like wondering why didn't anybody come out to go help him? And I'm like, hey man, this is exact rerun of what happened because I understand the way these kind of matches work. You built them up to make us really think that Roman's going to lose just for him to win, just so you can put more gasoline on the fire. And pretty much, I would like to say it like this, man. Hey, cause Drew McIntyre got sacrificed. That's just the way it is. But bottom line is, I think this was a good four out of 5 star match. Definitely a B plus or A minus. Not a lot of what I was mad about, but like I said, man, I just wish we utilized all of our tools a lot better.
I do wish Tyson Fury would have like punched Roman at the end of the match or something, but him shaking Roman's hand didn't make any sense to me. Like he congratulated Roman, but he seen that Roman just cheated pretty much. Like why would you that didn't make any sense to me. Like why was he congratulating Roman when obviously like you're from the UK, Drew McIntyre's from the UK. He just got cheated. You literally watched him get cheated out of winning the title multiple times throughout that entire match. And then somehow, some way, Tyson Fury is singing a song with Drew McIntyre at the end of the match. I'm just like, and then he just shakes Roman's hands. That part didn't make any sense to me. I was like, what? That don't make any sense. If
When they
anything,
started singing, I just thought that was just some like European thing they like to do, and that was just a really popular European song. But to me, the crowd wasn't feeling it that much. But it's like whatever at this point, man. Pay per view is over.
but it was like the timing was just off. Like, why did we just see him shake? Like, if anything, just let Roman leave the ring, and then maybe Tyson Fury comes in and then do the singing song thing if y'all want to do that. But why did he come in there while Roman was still in the ring? Roman just robbed Drew McIntyre basically, and you shook his hand. I didn't get that. That didn't make any sense.
Like sense.
I was like, that didn't make sense. But other than that, I can't knock Roman or like knock that match too much. Like Roman is on fire to me. Roman is on fire. But before we move on and talk about the last topic, I gotta ask you this: do you feel like the WWE should have more live events, overseas?
I definitely do think they should because WWE is watched all around the world and they have a very big fan base in India. They have a very big fan base in Europe, obviously, and they also have a very big fan base in Canada as well, along with Mexico. I feel like more pay per views should be done like that because back in the 2000s we had the Rock and Hogan sell out and pretty much sell out WrestleMania that year because Canada loves Hogan. They just do. And they were losing their minds. There's so much so that there was nothing that could have followed that next match. That match. There was nothing that could have followed that match. And so you're dead on arrival. And The Rock, and some people even said that Rock and Hogan should have went on last. And hey man, hindsight's 2020. It should have. But it is what it is.
I mean, obviously trying to build up this brand, building up this business. What WWE know what they're doing. Like I feel like they're gonna do more live events overseas. They're gonna do more big shows like this. I feel like this is just the start of it, and it's like they've been doing that with Crown Jewel, and then like now they go back to the UK. And then when I watched this Triple H interview with the BTS Sports, he mentioned how that's like his plan. Even with NXT, he wants to get young stars from all around the world, and kind of do like these type of like, these live events, like going to Mexico, going over, to all these different countries and finding the best talent, upcoming talent, or just people who they feel like have potential from all these different areas, and having them be a part of the WWE. It's like, I feel like WWE is about to even go to a whole nother level with Triple H in the office. But like,
what I want to see from this though is I want to see a crossover event, because I would love to see a New Japan versus WWE event. We don't have to have Roman on the card, but we got a lot of Japan's favorite wrestlers in WWE's company, and I would love to see these matches, give everybody the dream matches they wanted. Because I would love to see AJ Styles work strong style against an Okada. I would love to see Asuka go out to Japan and get her flowers. I would love to see Prince Devitt, aka the Fiend, not the Fiend, the Demon, Finn Balor, go out.
And let us take a quick break. One last break, and then we're going to come back. And we're going to finish talking about, what John loves to see or wants to see, all these dream matches. But then we're going to also give our final thoughts on the road to WrestleMania with Roman Reigns, and the booking that should take place. Who should take the title off of Roman Reigns? So let us take a quick break. What up, people? This is the People's Podcast. If you got any questions that you want me and John to answer, go ahead. Let us know in the comment section on the Wrestling Republic social media platforms, or on our own specific social media platforms. I'm What Up Meech, once again, on all social media platforms. If you got a question, you can directly message me. You can follow me as well. Make sure you click that follow button, and you can ask us any question that you want, and we'll be sure to answer it. We don't mind debating. We don't mind going head to head with fans, because guess what? We're fans as well. But that being said, we are the host of the People's Podcast, so make sure that you tune in, and we will bring you on the show, and we will answer your questions. Just make sure that you're ready. And we're back from the break, and before we left off, John was mentioning different dream match scenarios that he would like to see, especially in terms of like WWE being able to do more live events in different countries. So I'm gonna just pass it right back on to John to finish that out.
Well, before I was so rudely interrupted, I was gonna say that give the fans what they want. Give that fan service, because I know there are some people out there, especially people back in their home countries, wishing they can see their guy, their gal out there again, killing it. And they should just give them exactly what they want. And I guarantee you, people are going to show up to these shows a lot more, because you know why? You got the fans where you want them. And yeah, that's what I got to say about that.
Exactly. So before we end off the show, let us talk about one last topic. On the road to WrestleMania. We're not there. We're not even close, but we need to get our WrestleMania tickets. That's one thing we do need to get. But as WrestleMania does approach, and we were kind of mentioning it earlier when we were talking about Roman Reigns, and I brought up that I don't want to see Roman Reigns lose the title until around WrestleMania season or at WrestleMania in Hollywood. So the WWE has a good problem. This is a good problem to have. We obviously got the rumors of The Rock coming back. The match that everybody really wants to see, the dream match scenario between The Rock and Roman Reigns. But then you got Cody Rhodes in the distance as well, who's injured right now. But everybody is speculating that Cody would be back around Royal Rumble time, and most likely he will be the Royal Rumble winner. So what would you do if you were to book WrestleMania and you're to book the main event? How would you go about doing this? Do you have Roman Reigns versus The Rock and it's a non-title match? Do you have Roman Reigns versus The Rock and it's for the undisputed title? Or do you have Roman versus Cody? What do you do in this time period right now? Because you got, either way it go, you're going to make a lot of money, sell a lot of tickets. People are going to be happy. It's a good problem to have, but what would you do if you were to book WrestleMania?
This is a rough one because of the fact I don't like since the undisputed title is like not one unified belt. I feel like it's kind of rough to what to do. But since this is my show, I got creative freedom. You know what I'm gonna do? I would have it to where Roman on the way to WrestleMania loses one of the belts in like some crazy scheme made up by somebody, right? So now it's up for grabs at WrestleMania. So now what I can do is I can have a scenario where I can have Cody Rhodes win that belt and then challenge Roman for the other belt and reunify the belts at SummerSlam or, Money in the Bank, whatever, right? And then at the same time, what I also can do, and this is because another dream match now, I can give the fans The Rock versus Roman at Hollywood. So now everybody can go home happy. And I can even say the way that the Roman loses one of those belts on the way to WrestleMania is because of The Rock's direct interference. Because he's all like, "You're not the tribal chief." And I feel like that would be a smooth way because not everybody gets what they want. But the real issue would be is like, all right, I'm passing up on an opportunity to give Cody Rhodes his moment at WrestleMania if I don't give him that belt. But then again, though, I can give Drew McIntyre that belt because it seems like a lot of people want this to happen. I give it to him, and then if Drew loses to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, how do you feel about that?
That's actually a pretty good idea. I mean, personally, I wouldn't want. I'm sorry. I mean, throughout this podcast, it's gonna sound like I just really don't like Drew McIntyre, but it's not that I don't like Drew McIntyre. He's a great wrestler. He's entertaining. I just ain't really that entertained by Drew McIntyre. So I like your idea, but I'm not a huge fan of Drew McIntyre, and that's no knock on him. He does great work. It's just I don't know. It's something about that character and him coming out with a sword to me that's just not believable in my time period. I don't know. I'm like, is this medieval times? Like, I don't know. It's something about that character that to me is just a little bit boring. I don't know.
Mister, I love Undertaker. What?
And then Undertaker's the only one that can do it. Undertaker, the only one that can do it. Nobody else even try to come close. But I like the idea though, that possibly, let's say, Roman can lose one of the belts and then Cody can capture that belt at WrestleMania or something like that. I would have rather see maybe like Roman faces maybe Seth Rollins, loses the belt to Seth Rollins, The Rock interferes, maybe at the Royal Rumble or something like that, and then Cody goes on to, it goes on to face Seth Rollins because then that storyline is able to come to an end. Like, technically, I don't feel like it's over. Like, Seth Rollins technically is the one that injured Cody Rhodes. So that storyline could continue on from last year WrestleMania when they started off their rivalry, and then it ends at, WrestleMania in Hollywood. So that idea I don't see being bad. I mean, I wouldn't want Drew McIntyre. I'd rather replace Drew McIntyre with Seth Rollins. But here's my idea. Here's my ultimate idea. I feel like, what if Roman goes into WrestleMania still undisputed champion, and Cody Rhodes wins the Royal Rumble match, and he goes to challenge Roman Reigns, the Bloodline.
Yeah,
but it doesn't end right there. The Rock also is a part of this match too, and this goes on to be a big, I know people don't be liking triple threat matches all the time, but it would cause us to, I feel like it would end the right way. Cody can become undisputed champion, but at the same time, depending on how you book the match, we can not know who's going to really win. Like, what if the Rockers have moments that he can win that match? Then obviously the Bloodline can interfere. You think Roman can still pull it off, and then Cody being a part of it. I feel like that would be just a mega headline. The Rock, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes for the Undisputed Championship. And it would just be like, the stars will be out. The stars will be out for that. Obviously, when you got Roman as champ, you got the Bloodline, you got the Usos, you got Paul Heyman, they going to be involved. It's just so much that can happen in a triple threat match. I would personally book a triple threat match. And but I definitely feel like your idea if it's with Seth Rollins, would probably be the best, the best for business in a sense. Because you split both the titles, they go back to to each brand as they should, and you could have two world champions. I like your idea more, but if they didn't want to do that, I'd go with the triple threat idea.
I'm not against the triple threat idea either, because it's worked in the past, especially with Benoit, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H. And I feel like it'll be a smooth move. It's more about like you got to pick your poison, and you also got to make sure you make this land right. Because I'm like trying to imagine how would a Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and The Rock all mesh in a ring like that. And it seems like with The Rock, he only got like one or two matches left in him. So have to wait and see, man. Because I'd hate for Roman to somehow beat that, and The Rock return on a later date to beat him. Like imagine that.
Yeah, I can't really imagine The Rock winning the undisputed titles. Like, so the titles need to either be on Cody or split them up. But the problem is, I feel like Roman wants to take a break. So that's why I like your idea, but I feel like I don't know if they're going to do that because it seemed like Roman wants to take a break. And if it's just Roman versus The Rock with the titles on the line, with one title on the line, then I feel like Roman is to win that match. But then maybe he can lose it the next pay-per-view or the next night or something like that. But I feel like Roman is due for like a break at some point. Like the man's been champ for 2 years. And he's kind of getting into that Hollywood type acting type stuff, he seems like.
Yeah, he's been wrestling for 2 years straight, no injuries, and on top of that, he's been giving up good promos and good matches. And I feel like for a lot of fans, especially some of these internet clowns, like the run's been too long. But so far, this is one of those rare moments is where the run is actually good, and we're getting both good promos and both getting good matches. Now, granted, not every match is fire, because not every opponent Roman's going to go against is going to be a 5-star classic. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we've been given a lot of justice as fans to be getting these kind of matches.
Exactly. So I got to give Roman his props. Roman has been the top guy. I hear a lot of wrestling fans going at him at times, but to me, I'm like, this is one of the best runs I've seen in a while. Championship reigns. I have no problem with Roman being champ right now. To me, he shouldn't lose the belts until maybe around Royal Rumble, WrestleMania season, depending on how the Triple H and the WWE choose to book it, and depending on if The Rock can still make it to WrestleMania Hollywood. Obviously, if The Rock can't make it, then the easy main event is Cody versus Roman, and it's easy for that, and then that's for the undisputed title. Cody wins the Royal Rumble, and then that's it. But it all depends on The Rock and what The Rock chooses to do. I feel like The Rock, if there's a perfect time though for him to make a comeback, WrestleMania is in Hollywood. Like, come on, like this is his time.
Who else could it be, man? Imagine like The Rock can't make it, so they're just throwing John Cena as a backup.
Oh nah, like at that point, I'm like, just do Cody versus Roman, and John, if he wants to come back, he faces somebody else. I don't know, but John Cena versus Goldberg.
Stop! I don't even want to see that. That sounds like a crown jewel match. That's what that sounds like right there. God dang.
John Cena versus Goldberg, man, that would be crazy. Or John Cena versus, I don't even know. Like, we can go down the line with so much different questions, because then it's like, what is WWE to do with Brock? Brock is having one of his best runs in a long time too.
I say, don't bring back Brock until it's absolutely necessary. Because I am tired of seeing him hold the belt hostage. I'm tired of seeing him come in and just be like, well, since I'm Brock Lesnar, give me the belt. I'm like, I am tired of that. Let's just let him stay at home, herd his cattle, tend to his farm, be a father. I don't want to see him back in the WWE unless we got to break a glass vase, man. Don't do it.
I wouldn't mind seeing Brock back, because we getting babyface Brock. this version of Brock has been the most entertaining Brock of his entire career. The man put on a 5-star match at SummerSlam. The man brought the man lifted up the ring, and then he's just entertaining. He's actually funny. I'm like, this is crazy. Brock could have done this his entire career, but so I wouldn't mind seeing Brock back. To me, Brock has to be at WrestleMania. I just don't know who should he face, and maybe that's a question for the people.
Oh, I know.
Who?
Have him go against Bobby Lashley, and Bobby Lashley's going over. Make it fast hitting, make it hard hitting, and on top of that, make it almost like a pseudo UFC match.
Or just throw Brock, Bobby, and Goldberg.
Hey man, just leave Goldberg
and John Cena.
I'm done with you, man. All right, it's time to wrap it up.
It's this time, but let us know what you think. What should the WWE do with Brock Lesnar for this year's WrestleMania? You can let us know, and then, that may be a little topic we may review over in the next episode of the podcast, of the People's Podcast, presented by the Wrestling Republic. You can follow the Wrestling Republic on all social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, all those different things. But also check out the People's Podcast with Meech and John. You got any words for the people that you want to leave off before we go?
You know what? I was thinking about cutting a promo on the people because there's a lot of people out there I don't like, man. There's a lot of people out there that I just can't vibe with in this earth. I think I might have to cut a promo. I hadn't done one in a long while. But I'm worked up and I'm in the mood, so I might do it. I'm gonna do it now, actually, as I think about it. You know what? Matter of fact, you see all you people sitting at home, yeah. Talking to you internet clowns. I can't stand y'all. I can't stand looking at y'all. I can't believe that we're in the same community, you flip-flopping fans. Can't stand not a single one of y'all. 1 week y'all love CM Punk. The next week y'all want to be like, he's the worst possible human being ever. Then after that, you guys want to be all like, well, man, I can't stand behind this wrestler. Man, I just don't like their values. What do you mean? It's wrestling. Oh man, and then don't get me started with the internet communities, man, that like to group up and just hate a wrestler just because of the fact, all of a sudden they say something they don't like. Like, bro, deal with it. Your feelings are like glass. They shatter. And then you all up in your feelings, looking like your favorite wrestlers on AEW, getting hurt over nothing. God dang, I can't stand y'all. And then you guys want to be the quickest to come defend somebody who ain't deserved it. It's terrible, man. It's beyond terrible. Matter of fact, I can't stand you Bret Hart fans out there. And keep in mind, I love me some Bret Hart. But y'all be making it sound like Bret Hart's the gospel. Bret Hart can do anything. Bret Hart can cure cancer. Like, please stop. Please stop. We get it. The dude was dope, but hey, man, he ain't gospel, dog. Y'all gotta chill.
He ain't the Lord. God did.
He ain't the savior. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. I can't stand you people that be like anti-WWE everything. That's cool. I didn't like WWE that much either, man. But I'm not gonna sit up here and act like that clown show wrestling y'all got Willow Spray up doing is the truth. Y'all got this man over here and his friends taking a F5, a power bomb off the top turnbuckle into a goddamn pile driver into a Batista bomb, and then the man kicks out at 2. Are you serious right now? Are you serious? It's cool. Just tell me you like wrestling when there's no sense. It's a fighting game at that point where people just get up because they got a little bit of stamina left. That's cool. Just take pro wrestling fan at your name. Just leave that out on the side and just make it a point that you just like seeing ballet on screen. It's cool, bro. It's cool. It's 2022. You can do whatever you want, man. And that's what I got to say about that.
And there go John. That is the promo of the week. Coming at you, wrestling fans. Coming at you, fickle fans. You CM Punk fans, or sometime CM Punk fans, or you're sometime WWE fans, or you're sometime AEW fans, or maybe you're even you say that you're a wrestling fan, but then you don't even enjoy it. All you do is talk bad about wrestling. coming at all of you fans. But I'm gonna spare y'all this week. I may talk about y'all next week. But let me know in the comment section, what do you want to hear us talk about? This is the People's Podcast. We want to hear from the people. So you can follow us on the Wrestling Republic, or you can follow us. My personal Instagram is What Up Meech. I got my own One Heart Instagram page. Follow me there. Let me know if you got questions. Go ahead and send me a direct message, and we'll address those questions. And if you want to get on the show and possibly debate, then you can come on the show too. But just know you're going to catch these hands. You're going to catch these hands on the show. So that being said, this is the People's Podcast, and we're presented by the Wrestling Republic, and we'll see you guys again. But just know that we're back. We out.